We'll talk about UFO stuff in a minute. Hey, let's first get in the
Yes.
Halloween spirit and talk about horror movies because as ranked by Variety, they've given us the 100 best horror movies of all time. Now, of course, in the
Ooh.
interest of time on our show, just the particular focus of the show, we're going to talk about some of the 1980s ones. Which there's actually 13 that made the list. So more than 10% of the films on there are from the 1980s. And the oldest one on there is The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, which is a 1920 film. And the most recent one is Hereditary from 2018. So across that whole breadth of 100 years, 10% of them are 1980s films. So that's more than 10%, right? That's pretty good.
I love that it's 13 of them.
Oh, yeah. So we're going to talk about 5 of them. The 5, and look, I'll be honest with you. I picked the 5 because, the ones that I'm most familiar with. Let me turn off this.
They're your favorite 5. They're on your list.
Exactly. So Variety says if cinema is like dreaming with our eyes open, then horror movies could rightly be viewed as waking nightmares, an opportunity to confront our unconscious fears directly, most often as entertainment, but sometimes with the express purpose of terrifying ourselves. Now, already I'm wondering, isn't it always with at least some purpose of terrifying yourself? I mean, I get that you want to do it for entertainment as well, but I think any type of horror movie you set out to watch is the understanding that you're looking for a scare, right?
My purposes would be just so I can keep up with what you're talking about.
Okay. But you
That's a
expect
special
you might
case.
be scared, though.
I expect I might be scared. I'm not looking for a scare, but I expect I might be scared. And then I'll be like, okay, I saw it.
Mhm.
Well, I think you're right for quality horror movies. I think people who watch bad horror movies watch them intentionally for a different reason.
Okay.
They're probably watching them to make fun of them, to enjoy them ironically, to enjoy the poor whatever makes it a bad horror movie, whether it's the writing or the acting or the effects or whatever. But I think your assertion is accurate for quality, for good horror movies. Yeah, you want to it's like riding a roller coaster. I want to feel in danger, but have the safety net of knowing I'm not actually in danger.
Right.
Because it lets you experience something that otherwise could be life-threatening. And horror movies do that. They let you get that fight or flight, but you actually know you don't have to run, but somewhere back in your brain, you get those same feelings. I think that's what good horror does, is give you that fight or flight.
Right.
Or 90 minutes of crunchy effing leaves,
Thank you, Mark.
as Marcus
As he
points
continues to crap on In a Violent Nature.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, we know about his taste in movies.
I think I heard Kevin Smith speaking about this, and he's not a psychologist by any means, but I think this could be affirmed easily by some counselor of some sort, that we enjoy scary movies because they're actually life affirming. So that the chemical rush we get, it's just you almost don't feel more alive as when you're on the edge of your seat, whether it's in real life or in a movie. But as John points out, there's something about that safety of our couch or a reclining chair in the movie theater that allows us to enjoy the rush of adrenaline that we get.
Well,
I just want to feel something.
Yeah.
feel anything. Maybe you feel safe on your couch, but what about when you walk outside at night to take the trash out?
Yeah, I don't know. That stuff doesn't follow me around. Oh, well, maybe it did. Did you guys hear that too? Yeah.
I understand that reference.
Good. All right. So look, Variety considered it all. They say from highbrow to lo-fi, pure schlock to Hitchcock, reaching back to the advent of cinema. And look, let's face it. Like even as we're discussing here, what makes a horror or makes a film a horror film, is debatable and contentious. So ranking those that maybe we agree are horror films or not is even more difficult maybe. Okay, so here's the ones on their list. Again, I've chosen 5 of their 13 that happen to be from the 1980s. Number 1, A Nightmare on Elm Street. And I'm actually telling them in the order to the one that they ranked the highest. So the lowest 80s film that I picked on the list is Nightmare on Elm Street. I think I might have put this higher myself. Of course, it's a 1984 film from Wes Craven that introduced us to Freddy Krueger. And it's just one of the many slashers we got in the 1980s, but he's iconic. He's had a franchise for, I don't know, easily, it must be around a dozen films and reboots, I would think.
I'm surprised that's the lowest of whatever collection you're presenting us with.
How do you mean?
I would have thought that would be
Oh,
higher. I
on
think
Variety. As far as
I heard you
Variety
say that.
picked it, yeah.
Right. The least
Yeah.
of the best
Yeah.
of the 80s of the ones we're talking
Right.
about. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have thought that'd
For
be
me, it
higher.
would have been. And I'll
Yeah.
give you the ones that I didn't include on the list. And some of those are lower, and some of those rank higher, and some of them I don't know what the hell they are, but whatever.
Mm-hmm. But there's no shame in being this low, I'm using air quotes, on the list,
Yeah.
because it's like saying you're the least wealthy millionaire. It's like you're
Yeah.
still a millionaire.
Right.
You're still on the list. You're still recognized as in the cream of the crop at the top, right? So at this point,
point.
you're just splitting hairs.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And Freddie split a lot of hairs.
Yes, several.
And
Yes.
a whole lot of something else.
Number 2 is 1986's The Fly, which is a favorite of mine. It's a David Cronenberg's most popular body horror film. I don't generally like body horror, but I really like The Fly. I don't enjoy it for the body horror aspect of it. It's that approach to the film that puts you in this, I don't know, this mindset that allows, I don't know, makes you maybe more vulnerable to the psychological things that that Jeff Goldblum's character is dealing with. You know, you need that to be in his shoes. You have to see these awful things he's going through.
Yes. I just watched that recently.
Oh, yeah?
Like within the last
Okay.
few months. Yeah, for the first time. Yep.
For the first time. Wow.
Ooh. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the first time. Yeah.
I think, like you, Will, I don't care for body horror per se necessarily, but there's something about this one that I've seen plenty. I don't seek it out. For this one, I think because the character is so in the moment and aware of the horrors that are happening to his body gradually over the course of the transformation, that it's not just look at the horrible stuff, and it's not me reacting to the horrible stuff. It's the guy the horrible stuff is happening to reacting to the horrible stuff.
Yeah.
And it's
Yes.
that Goldblum performance. He's like, oh, my teeth are falling out. Holy crap. Oh no, my ear,
Yeah.
all these things. And he's just kind of like, at first he's horrified. He's like, well, this is the latest stupid thing that's going to happen to me, apparently. Yeah. It's that transition of him emotionally and mentally on the way that I think carries it for me.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you didn't see what he was going through, we might not, this is what I was trying to say. We might not as well understand the psychology of what he's going through, which is
Right. You just see the horrible
oh my
things.
God,
Sure.
it's devastating. Yeah. And that
Yeah, they are.
ending, that wordless ending where it just grabs the shotgun. Oh,
Just end it. Just do it. Oh.
Good.
And you did the clampy
Yeah, he
thing
just had
too,
like a little-
perfectly. Yes.
flaw by then. Yeah. A solo casting says The Fly was
pincer.
great. I still quote it. Oh, yeah. Brandon says The Fly, the vomit on the
Right, me too.
donut sticks with me to this day. Oh, yes.
Right. You have to pre-digest it, right? Is that what he's doing? Yeah.
Yeah. It's very fly-like, yeah. Hey, number 3 on this list is The Thing from 1982. We've talked about this film a number of times.
It's a wonderful comedy
Yes.
that Cat
comedy.
enjoys.
Right. I don't know why it frustrates me that Cat laughs at things like that. I don't know why.
Barrel
Why
of
do I
laughs.
want her to be scared? I guess because I feel like maybe we could connect more about what these things are, you know?
Aw.
Well,
Aw.
it's fine.
I
You have
respect
your
that.
response that you do, but it's hard to talk about like,
Mhm.
I mean, oh, didn't that affect you in this way? And you're like, no.
Well, we haven't talked about Friday the 13th
Oh.
yet. I just watched that for the first time, and that got me.
Oh, that's interesting.
Not hilarious.
I didn't laugh
Yeah.
at that. Like I don't remember laughing at much in that movie. Yeah.
I am surprised that one disturbed you. Is it because that one seemed more possible? Maybe like the thing is so
Yeah, probably.
sci-fi. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it because of
yeah.
your deep-rooted love for Kevin Bacon, perhaps?
Mhm.
Oh.
You hated to see that happen to his beautiful neck? Maybe? I don't know.
Or maybe time you spent at a summer camp, and so you can kind of.
That is part of it. I did not spend any time at a summer camp per se, like a group summer camp, but many, at least half of every summer in my childhood was spent
Oh,
in the
right,
woods
your
at
grandparents'
a
cabin,
cabin. My grandparents' cabin. I have spent tons of time in that kind of a setting. So
Yeah.
that
I
freaked
can
me
see how
out.
that might maybe it's okay. Maybe that's what it is then. Something that's closer to home, maybe more scary to you then. I mean, that makes-
Yes, and I didn't laugh at Halloween when I watched that. I don't.
yeah, and
remember
again,
laughing.
that's again, it's more realistic, so to speak.
Yeah. could be my neighborhood,
right.
right there.
I think what happens to
Yeah.
me is, maybe it's the empath in me. It's easy for me to be in the position of the characters and be like, holy shit, this is whatever it is. It could be as ridiculous as it is. I feel like, okay, I know what it would be to feel like that. Oh, this guy's just bit this other guy's arms off. That kind of thing. And not laugh.
So which character do you emphasize? Which character do you empathize with? Is it the guy whose chest opened or the guy who just got his arms bit off?
It's me standing by watching because I'm not stupid enough to do that.
Oh, you're neither of those people.
The,
I see.
The cadaver, or whatever.
What would it be like to eat someone's arms with my
he was
chest?
still
I can
alive.
imagine that.
Right, yeah. I empathize with the alien.
Eat someone's arms with your chest. Oh my God.
Owl says beautiful.
That would make me laugh.
Owl says about the.
It did, in fact. It did.
Yeah, it did make you laugh. What
Yes.
would you?
And it did.
Says
and
as
it
if
did.
it's
That's hilarious.
hypothetical. Owl says beautiful film. Carpenter and Russell. Yeah, what a wonderful team those two made.
Mhm.
Hey, number 4 on this list is Evil Dead 2, which is they subtitled Dead by Dawn. That's something that happened after to help avoid confusion with the first one. Like we talked about, it's not a sequel. In Variety refers to it as a requel because they made the first one on a shoestring budget, and then they got money because it was so well done, and they kind of
Let's try that again.
Yeah, they just basically made it better. And I think as far as canon goes, it's the sequel, story wise, but it's basically a redo. But it's fantastic, and I think it's better than the first film also.
Okay, yeah, you mentioned that last time we recorded. So should I just change my watch list to add a 2?
Yeah, I think so.
And not watch
Yeah.
Evil
Oh,
Dead?
you can.
Okay.
Sure.
All right. I will do
You
that.
can, but no.
I mean, if you were a fan and wanted to have the context, you could go back and watch the first one. But you'll know what's going on in the universe if you start with the second one.
Yeah, and I think even
The style. The
I think the second one is minus that one problematic scene.
Oh.
There was a scene, I don't want to spoil it. Someone in the comments may just confirm this or not. There's a scene that happens in the woods with a tree that I think is only the first one, and people were so outraged when he redid it. He doesn't have that in the sequel. Anyway, yeah, see the second one. You can
Now I'm
skip straight to the
curious.
second one. All right, and finally on this
That's
list
fine.
of Variety's top 100, but I chose 5 of the 80s of the 30 80s films that they had on there, is Tree Grapes. Yes, that's right. That was only in the first one. Right? Disposable.
Oh boy.
Disposable here also says Bruce Campbell is a legend. Hey, the final film on their list is The Shining, 1980.
Oh, okay.
I almost wouldn't call this a horror movie like our earlier discussion. I don't know, thriller maybe.
Right.
It's definitely
Psychological
Yeah,
thriller. Yeah.
Psychological thriller. Yeah.
I mean, there's so many questions about what. First of all, we know Stephen King didn't like the film. He panned it, and our understanding is because it departed in so many ways from his book. He liked better the TV series starring Steven Weber, the made-for-TV movie, which I think was terrible. But he liked it because it stuck to the book, and it's crazier and more wild, like Stephen King's books are. I really like this movie a lot, but I'm left with a lot of questions that I'm not really sure what happened. And I'm not sure I could say it's a horror movie. Did it scare me? Oh my gosh, yes. I saw it when I was, I saw it when he came out, I'm pretty sure. So I was 10 or 11 years old. It scared the shit out of me. The trailers, I told this story before. The trailers with the blood coming down the elevator shaft,
The hallway.
that scared me.
Yeah.
That's young. Seeing that at 10 or 11.
yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I forget if we talked about it or not. Whether we did talk about it, I forget if it was on the show or offline. But the recent movie that was positioned as horror, Longlegs, that ultimately ended up being not a horror and more of a psychological police thriller kind of thing. It's a similar situation where horrible things happen, but you could debate, is it horror? And I think The Shining is much like, I would put that in the same category, that it's tough to just categorically say it's not horror, because I'm like, I mean, it has some elements.
Yeah, it seems to, yeah.
But The Shining, some of its other elements outshine the horror elements, which are the psychological, the creepy, the thinker kind of thing that goes with it. So I get why you'd call it horror, but like Longlegs, a more modern film from last year, whatever, it easily, you could run another list for a different category and it'd also be in the top 100,
Yeah,
point.
absolutely. You just reminded me of something that I promptly forgot. Something about and much like I was going to say, much like our true creepy tale from a couple of weeks ago in The Shining, in the movie certain version, and I think even more so in the book, it's got everything in there. apparent zombies, ghosts, telekinesis, right? I mean, and so for me,
all you can eat.
but still, I mean, and still for me, it's on the cusp of horror or not. But, I think part of it is because it's like this question of, well, what really happens versus what didn't happen versus it just being the unraveling of this guy's mind.
Right.
Anyway,
Mm.
I think it's a great film, and I certainly think it deserves to be the top
It
of your
is.
list.
Yeah.
Would it be the top of and these 5 would it have been the top for me? Maybe because it's the most. No, I think The Thing would have been number 1 for me still.
Oh, for sure.
Probably
Yeah.
Thing, then The Fly.
Yeah,
Of these
Mhm.
5,
yeah. I'd say Freddy, Shining, Evil Dead, maybe something like that.
The Shining might be 5th for me even, but yeah, we're very close.
Yeah, those are.
Yeah.
that's
I'm gonna
my-
put Evil Dead above Shining, but it's again, they're all millionaires. It's just a matter of like, well, is it 1.1 or 1.2 mil, right? So,
Yeah, right. And actually, the sequel. I only saw the movie. I didn't read the book, but the sequel movie, Doctor Sleep, fantastic.
Dr. Sleep, is it?
Oh.
Yes, it's great.
Yeah, I avoided it because I was afraid of legacy-quelitis. There's been so much I hadn't checked it
No,
out. But all
it's
right.
fantastic.
Good to
And
know.
it was made by Mike Flanagan, who makes a lot of fantastic horror stuff we've talked about before, like House of Usher and Midnight Mass. He's got a great sensibility, and it's very smart, clever storytelling. Great sequel that may actually outdo the original. I think, although they're very
Wow.
very different in the sense that he's not Kubrick, so he's not doesn't have that Kubrick sort of
Mm.
art film kind of vibe.
Yeah.
It's a freaking movie.
Yeah. Disposable says it was it was frightening in the book. Jack Nicholson sold the movie. Brendan says he's reading The Shining for the first time, and like most books, it's better than the film. Yeah, it's rare that it's the opposite, right?
Mhm.
Owl says the film still freaks me out, and if these letters weren't so small, I'd be able to read it a lot more easier. I'm trying to.
Those 2 little girls, or which one are you reading?
I don't know. What is that?
David.
Yeah. Oh, is that what it is?
David Malik.
What does David Malik say?
The Boogans?
What's the context of
Boogans?
that?
I don't know. Something we said
Okay, I don't know.
inspired the Boogans. I'm not quite sure.
There you go. Oh, Karen says I was in college and watched Shining for a film study course. What course is that?
I
What
was-
bullshit course is that you get an A in? What making pottery level course is that?
Well, I had a film class in college as well. It was an elective that I took, but my favorite homework assignment was that I did a paper based on the amount of physical violence that takes place in 3 modern films.
Mhm.
So I went and rented 3 movies on VHS and brought them home, movies that I wanted to see, and took a tally of different types of like punch with fist, hit with weapon,
Yeah.
shot with firearm, things like that. And I had a category for nutshot that I could include because by far the most violent by number was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but there was less blood and actual deadly violence, as you might imagine.
Wait, did you say you were doing this for a class that you had
Yes,
created for yourself?
It was in college.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah, I included like RoboCop, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I forget the
Whatever you
third one
wanted
because I knew RoboCop was so violent, right? So
Ah.
I don't know what the third one was, but I measured all the violence.
Harder
I think I saw The Shining
Yay,
in
school.
college as well.
harder dollars.
Yes. Old
Joe
enough.
says I enjoyed Terrifier and Terrifier 2. Very gritty, well done. Give it a budget and small staff. Going to see part 3 soon. I cannot get into those movies. It seems to me that the gore. Look, I love clever films. We talked about this before. I don't need to see shit that I wouldn't want to exist in the real world. You know, I mean, I guess. I
What?
feel like this.
You want-
Terrifier? For you don't know, Kat, Terrifiers are incredibly graphic, and each one outdoes the previous one.
Oh.
And
Oh.
even just telling you some of the ways he kills people would be with you for the rest of your life. Even not
Oh,
seeing it.
good. Yeah, you don't need to mention it.
I haven't seen it, but it's like Saw caliber. Like, oh, that kill. Like you'll always remember the reverse bear trap. You'll always remember these different kills. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't get into those.
What? Kat, have you never heard about the reverse bear trap?
What?
Put
No.
Saw on your list.
It's like the rusty trombone, but in a whole different category.
got so much Googling to do. What I love now, she's going to be Googling rusty trombone, thinking this has to do with horror movie.
No, that's in
it
your
is
head.
kind of horrifying, I guess, depending on
It kind of is.
if you're the instrument or the player. All right. Yeah, Marcus, no, Halloween or Friday the 13th wasn't on the list. Let's clear out some of these things here.
I love Reverse Bear Trap. It's my favorite.
Yeah, oh God, sexy. All right, hey, as otherwise, I'm getting everything mixed up now.
Getting flustered.